but I want to welcome you here. And first and foremost, I want to thank Raines High School, their staff, for allowing us to be here today. Also thank those in the media that are here equally as well. Our elected officials, Councilman Peluso, I saw him scroll somewhere, and Councilman Johnson here equally as well. And our business leaders and LISC staff, more importantly, definitely the United Way staff. Thank you for all that you're doing for the community and putting this on for today. United Way. The mission of United Way is working to solve our community's toughest challenges by connecting people, resources, and ideas. And their vision is envisioning a community where everyone has hope and can reach their full potential. Now, I've been a part of United Way in multiple different cities and been here in Jacksonville going on 13 years, and Melanie corrals you in to work on various different initiatives. And this has been one of the greatest things that I've also had the opportunity to work on. Being part of the task force for affordable housing for United Way has been great. And partnering with the Jesse Ball DuPont Fund, Mari Karashi was also co-chair of this task force. But here are the groups that you had involved. Ability Housing, I said Jesse Ball DuPont Fund, Dr. Pedro Cohen with LISC, Bank of America, Fifth Third Bank, CSX, Regency Partners, Wells Fargo, Florida Blue, and many others. But I think you get the theme that this was a true public-private partnership in terms of having this conversation regarding quality, affordable, and attainable housing for this community. And Melanie's going to talk a little bit more about this respective work of this task force, but it's really about access to capital and how making access to capital, how you deploy that capital so that you can produce quality, affordable, and attainable housing from that standpoint. Our community is growing very rapidly. And within that rapid growth, sometimes you have growth and then there's displacement. And people don't have various different opportunities to participate in that growth that's going on. So you want to make sure you don't leave anyone behind. It goes back to that mission, it goes back to that vision that we talked about for what United Way is all about. So getting a gift from the McKinsey Scott Foundation and having capital. So you don't just wake up one day and $10 million just decides to be deposited in your bank account. Let's talk about the work that went on with United Way to apply to get that money and have the faith to do so and put together a product that the McKinsey Scott Foundation could say, we're going to give you that gift. And then having the foresight to put together a task force to have a conversation about how to deploy the capital. That's the most important thing. And we were able to do that. And Melanie will share with you a lot of those respective ideas, but what I am most proud of is an organization of United Way that I've been part of, as I said, in multiple cities for 25 years, coming together with another organization that I've been dealing with for the better part of 25 years, and that's LISC. These two organizations care about communities that have challenges no matter where they are in the United States. But more importantly, I'm so glad that Melanie and Pedro today have come together and talk about a program that they're going to deploy here in the Jacksonville region. I'm going to bring up none other than Melanie Patz, the president of and CEO of United Way Northeast Florida. Melanie.
Thank you so much, Andre. Andre not only co-chaired the task force that he talked about, he also serves on our board. So thank you, Andre. And I also want to thank Greg Montana and Eustatius Roberts, two of our other board members who are here with us this afternoon. I also just want to take a moment to acknowledge and thank the team at Raines High School. We are so proud to be in the home of the Vikings. So thank you for having us here, especially Brandy, who arranged all of this for us. So Brandy is a Stein Fellow with United Way, and she has been such a terrific asset for us. At United Way of Northeast Florida, we believe in a community of opportunity where everyone has hope and can achieve their full potential. And we know through our latest LISC report that was just released last month that over 40% of households living in Northeast Florida struggle to make ends meet. These are families who are going to work every day, working hard, and it still is not enough. That's 40%. We have a lot of work that we can do together. Just one data point from the LISC report is in Duval County, a family of 4, and that's 2 adults and 2 children who are in school, require $75,000 a year just to survive, just to make it work. In Duval County, the median income is around $69,000. So there's a great opportunity for all of us to come together and create that opportunity and hope for everyone in our community. We believe in the power of home ownership to create communities where individuals are connected and thrive. So in 1998, it was July 1998, my husband and I were at a small round table. It was brown, and we had a stack of papers that was this thick. We were signing each one of the papers, and I promise you, it felt like as we signed a paper, another one grew in its place. And we were buying our first home. It's the home that we happen to live in today, and so that was almost 30 years ago. We were nervous, of course, because it was a new venture for us, but we were also really excited. And we were excited not just because we were going to have a permanent place to put our stuff and we didn't have to worry about rent increasing and finding a new place to live, but we were also excited about making roots in our new home of Jacksonville and roots in a new neighborhood where we could go out and meet our neighbors and actually get to know them and support one another. And there are families all over Duval County, just like Jason and I were 30 years ago. They want a home. They have that dream of owning a home, but the challenge is the homes that are available to them are not small enough. We bought a really small home that we could afford. They're not small enough, they're not affordable, and they're not in the neighborhoods where they choose to live. And so I'm thrilled that you all are with us today for this really important announcement. As many of you know, stable housing is key to the stability of families and communities and neighborhoods. And that's why, as Andre was telling you, in 2023, we put together a task force to help us think through what we can do with that monumental gift from Mackenzie Scott. $10 million toward affordable housing. And in late 2023, we announced the results of the task force, and we were proud to be at Greater Bethany Church in North Riverside to do that. The task force recommended $4 million in home preservation, $1 million in nonprofit community development and neighborhood association capacity building, and $5 million in infill development. We have been, since that announcement was made, really leaning in on the preservation side of that work. We have, in partnership with a lot of folks in this room, who I will name in a minute, completed 90 owner-occupied home repairs and 330 heirs property cases. Yes, thank you. This work is ongoing, and in partnership with Groundwork Jacksonville, the North Riverside Community Development Corporation, Historic Eastside Community Development Corporation, LISC Jax, and of course, LISC Jacksonville. In addition, we hold regular meetings with home preservation partners, the City of Jacksonville, and other experts to have unified conversations, share practices, and collectively learn from our preservation efforts. So today, we are here to make a really exciting announcement. In partnership with LISC Jacksonville, we are thrilled to announce that we will be launching a $5 million Housing Development Loan Fund to stimulate home ownership in low-income Duval County zip codes. Again, that's $5 million. Yeah, go ahead. $5 million in a loan fund for affordable homes for purchase, for people to own and develop stability for their families and roots in their community. This will include $4 million from United Way funding, as a starting investment, $1 million from LISC Jacksonville. LISC Jacksonville will service the loans, monitor compliance, and oversee construction of new or renovated homes for purchase in low-income zip codes throughout Duval. An important and impactful part of this fund is its strategic loan approach. These loans will gain interest over time and be paid back upon the selling of the home. This means that the fund will exist to provide homes in perpetuity for families to buy and create a great Jacksonville for all of us. Owning a home is not just about the importance of having a roof over your head. It's also about building assets, improving the financial well-being of a family long-term so that they can break the cycle of generational poverty, supporting a family's quality of life, and not to mention increasing pride in our community. Moreover, this work will allow contractors working in underserved areas to have access to the capital they need to build homes in communities that don't see a lot of development. That's why United Way believes and invests in this work. We know it will help our community reach our full potential. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Urban Pedro Cohen, Executive Director of LISC Jacksonville, who will share more specifics on the loan fund and its operations. Dr. Cohen.
Thank you, Melody. Today is a really, really, really good day for a few reasons. First and foremost, as an 18-year-old, this is the last time I stood on this stage. And I'm actually wearing a tie that's reflective of the seats you all are sitting in. So for me, it's a good thing to be at your alma mater making this kind of substantive announcement. That's number one. Number two, it's not very often I can convince my mother to come out somewhere and finally figure out what her son does for a living. So my mother is here, and I want to say thank you for coming. And then, you know, it's rare that you get a chance to do something in a community that you grew up in. My parents live literally less than 2 miles up the road, and to be a part of a process that is going to bring affordable housing for ownership back to a neighborhood that allowed me to be the person that I am today is quite a feat. I mean, I'm walking on air as we simply make this announcement. The thing that we talked about earlier in this process is that we have builders in our community, and we have one here on the stage with us who has the capacity to build homes, but they just don't have the access to the capital that they need in order to build said homes. You know, as I like to tell Pastor Harry, you know, I'm your first date, not your last date. And what I mean by that is I'm the first round of access to capital for you to build homes in these communities. But it's my hope that once you work with LISC, you will then substantively be able to go on to borrow money from Wells Fargo and Chase Bank and all of these other, you know, well-known financial institutions in our community. So the goal is to provide initial access to capital, have them build houses that will be sold to folks who qualify at 80% of AMI, and then in turn, those folks will now take ownership of their communities. I mean, I'm quite sure you all have heard, read, or saw somewhere where many other communities that we serve are being overrun, and this is not necessarily a bad thing, but it is what it is, by rental homes. And what happens with rental homes? You have less pride, less ownership stake in what goes on in the community. The one thing that I can say about our neighborhood that I grew up in, those people have been there right up until their deaths. And you saw it. You knew Miss Johnson lived right there. She was there when you were born. She was there when you went off to high school. She was there when you went off to college, et cetera, et cetera. And so we're hoping to do work in that space and bring back that level of ownership to the process as we've seen before. And Pastor Harry is, again, a perfect example of doing that, of bringing quality housing, housing that's built with an eye towards care back into those neighborhoods. And that being the case, I want to take a moment and ask Pastor Harry to come up and talk about his experience going through this process with our emerging developers. Pastor Harry?
Wow, I appreciate you. First of all, I want to say, I know when y'all heard pastor, y'all thought that was going to be a long time. I'm going to try to make it real short. This meeting is really adjourned because they're going to give me all the money. Thanks for coming. But anyway, first of all, I'm truly blessed to be here. This is a great opportunity. I thank God for being able to come back home. I came back home about 17 years ago. I was a social pastor in Atlanta, Georgia, and a youth pastor there. And when God put it on my heart to come back home, a few things that he tasked me with doing. One of those things that he tasked me with doing is going back in my old neighborhood, which I grew up, and build homes. At the time, didn't have any money. All I had was a vision, right? Didn't have any money, just had a vision. When I got back to Jacksonville, it was so important to me because when I grew up on the east side of town, you all know it as out east, just to give y'all that. None of my friends that I hung with, their parents didn't own homes. All of my friends, they pretty much stayed in apartments. I was the only one that was in my group whose mother and father owned a home. And so when I came back here, I wanted to change that narrative. I wanted folks in my neighborhood to actually own homes. I didn't start out trying to make a whole bunch of money. All I wanted to do was to be able to build quality homes in our neighborhood. And so, in trying to figure out how I was going to get this done, I actually had a conversation with Pedro, and the rest is history. LISC organization was able to allow us to be able to make this dream a reality. And for many people that's in our neighborhood that's trying to do things, one of the biggest problems we have is getting funded. And I understand you can have a dream, but if you don't have a team to go with that dream, you'll never get anything done. And I thank God that we had an opportunity. We had folks that was on our team that was able to do what needed to be done to make sure that we were able to build affordable homes in our neighborhood and have an organization that was willing to help come alongside us and help partner with us to make this a reality. I'm grateful for the opportunity for more money to be out there in our neighborhood, not only just for us, because there are a ton of builders in our neighborhood that are doing things as well. So I am not just thankful for my organization, ITWIC Enterprise. I am happy for any builders that's in the neighborhood that's trying to do things that help us, and not only us, help all of those who want to come into our neighborhood, be a part of our neighborhood, but mostly for the people that already live in the neighborhood, that want to stay in the neighborhood, but they want to have nice homes. And so I am happy about this opportunity. Listen, please, those of you all that are in positions to be able to help in any capacity, listen, I invite you to come out east, see what's going on, talk to the community leaders, but most importantly, come look at the homes that we're building. We're not just throwing up any type of homes. We're putting up homes that people are proud of and that people are excited about. And so I am excited to be here to talk about that today. And I thank you all. I thank you, LISC. I thank you all, United Way. I thank you for all of the partners. I thank you for even on the political side. I thank you for all of our councilmen that are working diligently to make sure that not only our neighborhood is being counted as one of the best neighborhoods in Jacksonville, Florida, but just doing work all throughout the city. So once again, I thank you, and that's my time.
Thank you so much, Pastor Harry. The developers are so critical to this project working well, and so we appreciate you and your commitment to the community, and all of the other developers just like you who are committed to their communities as well. So this concludes our speaking portion. I just want to thank again our Councilman Johnson and Peluso for joining us and for your leadership in neighborhoods in our community. And I also want to thank Joshua Hicks, who's with the City of Jacksonville Affordable Housing Initiative. Thank you for being here as well. And of course, we cannot conclude today, I appreciate Andre talking about the staff, without recognizing United Way's team, led by James Allout on the community impact side, who really created this initiative for us, worked very closely with Pedro once Pedro was selected, once LISC Jacksonville was selected through an RFP, a competitive RFP process that we had. So please, James, stand up. Let us recognize you. And United Way team, please raise your hands so that we can recognize you as well.